sounds like company. I smell something. I smell something new in my den. But something old as well. And blue. I detect a strong scent of woad in the air. Hiding amongst the sheep whilst covered in their wool. Clever. But useless against a dragon's keen sense of smell. I wouldn't bother hiding. Little human. I have no thorns with you. I see you, however, wish to speak with me. I notice the sheep regard you quite fondly. They are yours, aren't they? That explains the old smell. You wear their wool beneath that metal. You must be from the village I last visited. Oh, please. Did you think that old war sword you can barely wield and that ill-fitted armor would fool me? I do not yet know what you are, but I know what you are not. And you are no knight. Silly little thing. You barely smell of blood and war as it is. No, just wool and flowers. It's quite pleasant, actually. I don't usually accept human guests, but for you I will make an exception. You can quell that fear of yours, for now. In fact, upon closer inspection, yes, that single weave woolen scarf, made in a hurry, and out of scraps no less, but certainly made with skilled hands, freshly dyed. Are you, perhaps, a weaver of some kind? Aha! The weaver from Village Barns, of course! You should really remove that helmet. It doesn't suit you, little one. It's covering that nice woolen scarf of yours as well. Well, you have certainly traveled far to find me here. but not to simply recommend dyes and wool spinning methods, no. No, I thought not. Although, if you value the extension of your visit, I would very much appreciate you not pointing weapons at me. It's unbecoming of a house guest. Careful, little weaver. Your hands were not made to wield cold, heavy weapons. You might hurt yourself, or one of the ewes. Tut, tut. For shame, little one. Don't you want your flock back? Winter is fast approaching. On the turn of the next moon, I think. Can you really afford to return to your home empty-handed? I'm sure you would try by force, if we were enemies. But we are not. I remember this sword, as well as the battle it last served in. One of hundreds between two foul men, bickering about deserving more than the other. A waste of lives, and ones that I assume meant a lot to you. It was men long dead that took everything from you, Weaver, not who stands before you now. You are actually the first human that has not sunk a weapon into my scales upon seeing me, you know. I can tell. You'd prefer not to return to your village, dyed crimson from my blood, just as I have no intention of harming you. You'd have been bone and char long before finding this place, if I had. That being said, I actually require your very particular assistance. I would be grateful. I would even let you leave here with your flock. Magnificent. See, I thought something like privet berries would produce that marvelous blue I am after. But imagine my surprise when I am sat teasing yellow wool a day later instead. Oh, you funny little things. I watched you closely. Blue berries for yellow, and those bright yellow flowers for blue. Woad, you called it? Genius. It only makes sense that an anomaly like human men would discover the backwards properties of wool dyeing. Oh yes, mankind, with his blunt claws, flat teeth, and soft skin, somehow rising to the top of a world amongst creatures like me. Leisurely changing the colors of nature to his liking, simply because it looks prettier. I cannot help but be in awe. Right, forgetting my manners, forgive me, I will start from the beginning. I am trying to create a tapestry. There was one I came across decades ago, you see. maybe even centuries back. Oh, it was spectacular, Weaver. You should have seen it. I caught one glimpse of it in its entirety. This scene of a battle between a human army and, would you believe, one of my late kin. The little men in the fort I found it in captured their likeness so well. Only it is gone now, burned by my own flames, no less. I had no time to stop my fire consuming every last beautiful thread. I had no idea you things were capable of something with such form and meaning hidden inside your little stone hideaways. I simply was there to destroy something men had made. Since then, I have been trying to recreate what I saw. I have done as much research as a creature 500 men's length can manage. Reading your tiny books, hiding and watching you work so I don't startle you. I must admit, I am smitten by how you creatures treat wool. I don't believe there is much I do not know at this point. I've grown fond of this new technique. Knitting, it's referred to as. I've spun, carded, I scoured it all myself, too. Dyed and knitted all sorts of things. I even came up with my own saying to remember how to cast off. Stab, tie him up, disembowel, throw him off a cliff. Useful, no? But, when it came to weaving, to the tapestry, well, I can't master it. It's the stepping stone to my goal, and I am fruitless. I have been trying, and all that happens is that I tangle the weft or the loom snaps after so long. Here, see? I am surrounded by all these wasted scraps after I worked so hard to get this far. And with each passing day, my memory of that tapestry fades. I cannot stand it, human. I am not gentle enough. Or perhaps it is me. What if I do not want it enough? The sheep, your sheep. They have been so patient with me. Didn't complain once, even when I sheared them. Well, tried to, at least. My first attempts before I observed your methods were crude, to say the least. Oh yes, I have been feeding them, keeping them warm. All my knitting I practice on them too, so they don't get cold afterwards. Ha! A sheep under the wing of a mighty dragon? No wolves for 100 miles would even think of it. Yes, every single one I've brought is right here, safe and sound. Such sweet little things. They are like a brood of hatchlings to me at this point. Although, now they won't stop following me. I couldn't raid a fort now. Them around my ankles amongst arrows, javelins, and axes? Unacceptable. We've all been holed up in here for a while now. Ugh, I'm trapped in an adorable fluffy cage, surrounded by my woolen failure. Oh, please feel free to collect them. I cannot stand looking at how many attempts I've failed so far. I don't have the heart to destroy them, especially not whilst the sheep are watching. Say that again? You like them? You really think they aren't hideous? Ratty? Off color? A professional weaver, a human, likes my work? I must admit, Weaver, I am irked to discover how kind you are. In spite of what I have taken from you, in spite of you being human, it seems I have once again underestimated you creatures. No, I am not intending to reduce you to bone and char now. I may have falsified that threat from earlier, actually. Fascinating thing about draconic anatomy. The chambers in our bellies produce fumes that the spark in our throats catch light to. Turns out, by eating specific herbs and drinking from the purest creeks, I can fashion a concoction perfect for curing and processing raw wool. It's not disgusting. Very rude, Weaver. All right, perhaps it is, but the sheep do not seem to mind, much less my fellow kin. Oh yes, other dragons know about this. In fact, this piece right here that I'm working on is for a friend of mine. They collect these curious little sewn creatures, and I have been knitting the tiniest of clothes for them ever since I found out. They seemed rather pleased to know of another dragon hoarding anything other than bones or gold. They also really love doting over the sheep. I think they look so much like the clouds we fly amongst day to day. I have found that they actually rather enjoy being carried through the sky. We've all been enjoying joyrides in the late evenings, and now they seem to be hooked on it. I could always show you the same courtesy. They are your sheep, after all. Oh, we were both quite embarrassed about our hoards, but it appears we are all prone to unusual pastimes. I have another friend who has taken up painting. They often visit for some of the dyes I have perfected. And another friend has taken interest in music. They've been making tools, instruments, I believe you'd call them, for imitating the birds and other creatures. They are trying to perfect one for dragon song now. All of these passions which you wouldn't expect from us dragons, But they're all so wonderful, and we're all so quick to insist to each other that they are nothing to be embarrassed about. And so, even though I know that my weaving still has lots of room to improve before it can match the quality of that wondrous tapestry, well, I'm not so quiet about it now. Plus, I have all the wool I could need for practicing right here, in this cave, and with a dragon's lifespan, all the time I could need to improve. Not to mention the warmth from cozying up with sheep all day means I don't need to bask in the sun for hours. I suppose you're right. I might even have more sheep here than those scraps. No, no. You are right, little one. These flocks weren't mine to take. They have clung to me like hatchlings as I have watched over them, yet they are drawn to you right away. Now I can see why you set aside your anger, the fear of our kind, just to reassure me in my pursuit of something beautiful. You are not like the humans I have encountered before. I have kept to myself alone, bitter about your kind culling mine from the earth. I strain to admit I had become just like the creatures I held such disdain for. Thank you, human. And you are not those same armies that slew us either. You have been hurt too. You found comfort in making things anew, just as I did. Yet I have taken that from you. I offer my apologies, Weaver, and your flock back. I must learn to heal on my terms, not someone else's. When I finally create this tapestry, I want it to be pain-free. I'm sorry? With who? With you? You would offer me to work alongside you? You would help me in making the tapestry? After everything I have done? Well, I'd hardly fit in the barns with your flocks, first of all, and all of your equipment would be too small for me. It was hard enough whittling these trees down for needles as it is. That too, you really think you could convince your entire village not to faint at the sight of me? Much less make usable tools for the beast that took their herds and wool? You would act as an ambassador on my behalf? Why? I have done nothing but steal from you and waste your wool. Well, yes, I did say that earlier about protecting the sheep. I'm sure they would miss me. The flying, I'm certain of. Wool distribution certainly would be easier by dragonflight. And it was pleasant talking with you. It is nice finally speaking with someone else who shares my passions, I must admit. And you think I am sweet? Thank you, human. I think I would like nothing more than to create this tapestry together. I think when it is finished, it would be nice to have you woven into it alongside me. If you'd like, of course. You are a funny little human, but I am not weaving you slaying me with that sword, no. In fact, here, human, my little weaver, that unsightly war sword just does not suit you. I have a needle that might be the perfect size for you. It looks nice in your arms, human. The perfect tool for herding sheep as well. Which you may have to assist me in as we return to your village, actually. Yes, I did say winter was fast approaching. Your village needs wool, and we certainly have plenty here. Let's see how many sheep I can ferry at once then, shall we?